Abxylute One Pro, successor to the Abxylute One, a device that is primarily designed for streaming. This is what this video is going to focus on, a showcase on running native Android titles. That is because I have a lot of storage installed for the games. There's not a whole lot on the device itself, 64 gigabytes. That's why you see this stick out. I'm sorry, that's going to be part of the video. I'm also capturing the audio separately. And if you've seen my videos before, usually when I do showcases, I just let the game play and not talk. For this video, we'll give you feedback as I'm playing games. So we have a 60 hertz panel here. The video will be shot in 60 hertz as well. So you should get a good feel. You can also trust your eyes, but hopefully my feedback will also help you understand what we're looking at in terms of power. We're pretty much getting a 60 FPS steady, and it's not a hard game to run either. I mean, we're talking about an indie 2D game that looks phenomenal. The art style is gorgeous, but just not a hard game to run. Games like that, I would assume Terraria to also be a great experience on this type of device. And another big benefit, if you don't know, between the One and One Pro, which I'll cover in a proper review and way more depth, is you have better sticks. And let me tell you, the improvement is just completely out of this world. I had it for about 4 or 5 days and I've been playing it every day since. It's pretty substantial a difference that it makes for the different chip that we have in there, the different SoC, the different sticks. All of that I'll cover in the review. Anyway, so that's Dead Cell. Let's move to another game. What am I doing? So there are a couple of hiccups here or there, but I'd say that it's definitely playable. And if you haven't picked up that game, it's on the Epic Store, which you have to download separately. Dude, I'm here scoring in my own goal. I'm terrible. I was doing great yesterday. I think it's because I'm filming, guys. There you go. That was better. Really fun game. We can see the texture of the stadium. I probably don't have max graphics, but at least with the way that I'm set up right now, it's quite playable. There's a little bit of a situation here that I can't unfortunately show you. When trying to play Call of Duty Warzone, you won't find it in the Play Store. You'll have to sideload it. And when you do sideload it, it'll tell you that this chip is not supported. Essentially, there are no ways to play Call of Duty Warzone with this handheld. And when it comes down to Call of Duty Mobile, at least at this point in time, there are no controller mapping software that is part of the Abxylute One Pro. It is said to come at a later date. They mention it in their Kickstarter campaign. So I don't think it's going to be up in time for the review, unfortunately. But just know that this is something that is coming. I guess I'm stuck with the same issue here. This one also doesn't seem to have compatibility controller mode. I don't know if it's just like Call of Duty where it requires specific controllers to work, but as far as the game goes, a little bit of a hiccup here. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not 60. Oh, I'm playing with bots. Yep. I mean, it works. I don't know that this is the device I'd want to play these types of games with. There's potential to lower the graphics as well. And one thing that does work great is we don't always have to use the Abxylute in regular candy bar size. I just found out this game while I was preparing for this video, and I've been having a blast. It's kind of a, well, it's not kind of, it's a shmup Cuphead. Very, very fun and with great visuals. Easy to run, runs smooth at 60 FPS. I didn't know this game existed, and it's been out for 3-4 months, give or take. And eventually, once we have screen mapping, this is totally a game that I could see myself playing with the controls here as well. That's another way to experience the Abxylute, and because of its big screen and very light form factor, it's a very pleasant experience when used like that. And if you're looking for something different, I mean, it's called Acecraft. Another thing that I like is when it comes to having the screen in the vertical fashion, or portrait, I should say, you don't really have colors shifting. It's really a good panel. That's one of the best things about the Abxylute. It looks so good, and there's no exception here. I'm sorry, I'm not super focused on the gameplay. I'm focused on being centered in the camera because it's a little tough, but we're making it happen. We're making it happen. While we're running local native games, I already have been filming for 20 minutes and we lost about 10% of battery, which of course you're going to go through your battery a lot faster than if you were to play using streaming solutions. But I find that the chip in there is pretty efficient at still running in low power and giving you, let's call it, usable, serviceable performance. Just as this game is loading, or I believe it's called Sonic Rumble, the screen is so gorgeous. That's that's definitely a big plus of the Abxylute One and Abxylute One Pro. And if you never had the opportunity to have one in front of you, that is probably the biggest and most valuable aspect of both the Abxylute One and Abxylute One Pro. Now, would I wish it was 120 hertz or that they changed to OLED? Sure, but quite frankly, to give you an idea, if I was given the choice between having OLED or having 120 hertz, I would have gone 120 hertz before OLED, because this panel doesn't need OLED all that much. It's so vibrant, it's so good looking, really a gorgeous solution when it comes to the visuals overall. Also not really familiar with this game. This is some type of Fall Guys, but with Sonic characters. We got a little bit of hiccup here. For the most part, I'd say playable for sure, but maybe not perfect performance. Now keep in mind that I'm not necessarily trying to optimize those games in terms of tweaking and settings. Of course, it is very common that we do not have as many options in Android games. It's not like PC games very often, although there are exceptions to the rule. But, oh yay. Look at me qualifying with first place. Let's go. The device does get hot a little bit when playing more demanding games. I'd say right about here specifically. That's probably the hottest part of the device. But it never reaches where you're gripping the Abxylute One Pro, so it's really of no impact. I'm pretty sure this is passively cooled because I don't recall having... Oh, the game crashed. So see, I think that's a great example of the compatibility in terms of the chip, but also the power output. And while this is loading, another game that I also could not download because it just doesn't seem to work with this device is Zenless Zone Zero. That's another one that is just not an option in terms of what you can download from the Play Store. I haven't tried side loading it. Maybe it would work. Compatibility may differ. If you're used to like having a Snapdragon flagship phone, even if from 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. There's a compatibility issue that will just happen at times. So the crashes are definitely more often when playing local, but the fact that you can even do it on a device that is not necessarily meant to do that primarily is still a great option to have. If, for example, you're traveling and you're relying on your mobile data to play a wireless device over the cloud, well, at least you have the ability to have something local to keep you occupied while the cloud is not available. And while doing that, you still have the great ergonomics, the lightness of the device, as well as the big screen. So I lowered the graphics. I think that's what was doing it. So I put everything on medium at 30 FPS. And now we're getting to boot into a stage, and it seems steady. I mean, it's a game I'd much rather play at 60, but if that's the only option I have, I'm more than happy to make do with 30 FPS. But as you can see here, I'm getting a couple of hiccups. So while it's definitely feasible, it may struggle at times, and especially when thinking about maybe specific stages. That's it for Fall Guys. I mean, the fact that you can play this, I find, and clearly Fall Guys is not the most demanding game, but it is a gorgeous game for what it is, in my opinion. And yeah, the fact that you can play this on this handheld is pretty cool, and also another title that'll let you have so much game time. But then again, you could raise the argument that, well, if you can play Fall Guys, wouldn't you be able to play on the cloud? And yeah, that's a fair argument to make. Cloud requires better latency and better bandwidth, but logically speaking, if you can do one, you can do the other. All right, let's go to a different game. Definitely Minecraft is going to be playable on that device, that's for sure. Let's look at the settings. So they're recommending 7 chunks. It's not a whole lot, but we can work with that. Let me put that to 60. Let's try 11, which seems to be the maximum. Let's put simple. I don't think flying around is necessarily going to be as smooth. So, you know, maybe not the device to push as many chunks as possible at 60 FPS and fly with your Elytras or with a Trident when it's raining. For the most part, it's keeping up. Yeah, I think all things considered, Minecraft is going to be feasible here. That's for sure a game that will give you hundreds and hundreds of hours, well past the battery life if you can't charge it, if for some reason you're not able to access your cloud. That is, of course, if you're not playing a server that is in the cloud. Because if so, well, that might be another kind of issue that you may face. But as far as just playing the game with as many chunks as it allows, it's feasible. I played so much of this game, but I played on PC. Of all the games, that's definitely one that it probably wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I don't see how this game could struggle. Maybe when there's a lot of enemies on screen, there's no reason for Vampire Survivor to chug in any capacity in any kind of way. This game, such a good game. I completely devoured this title on PC. If you never played it, it is worth every penny. I ended up rebuying it because I enjoyed it so much. I am happy to show support to the developer team. I love the fact that it's now on Android. Essentially, it's a fishing RPG set in a Lovecraftian universe where you pick up like strange looking fish and you upgrade your boat. As you can see here, it's chugging a little bit. Yeah, this one is probably going to be a little tough because it's very timing based. Yeah, like all those mini games like that, like I'm doing right now, and you're picking up stuff. And yeah, I really don't understand why this is chugging like that. Okay, this is going to be easier to show you during the day, but at least that probably served to give you a good impression of what you could expect on a very dark scene on the device. It's going to be a little hard to see, but if you really close in, this is looking a little bit fuzzy. I'm going to try to show you guys. Not unbearable at all, just something to observe. I think that's just because the game is not able to render at max resolution due to the power of the chip. And I've noticed that on quite a few games, but based off of this panel, which is 1080p, I feel like on a good chip, we'd get that quality. We're just not getting it there. That's something I thought was important to mention. Alright, when it comes to Fortnite, I mean, we can get in the game, but that's about all there is to it. It's massively chugging and struggling. And the other thing is, for some reason, and this is not the first time I see that, the LT and RT is not being captured. So I don't know what they're doing with their triggers here, but you'll notice that I'm not hitting, it's not doing anything when I'm pushing RT and LT. That's probably the main reason why I wish these companies that make these retro handhelds or streaming handhelds or just Android handhelds have more effort into emulating different controllers and allowing you, the player, to make more tweaks, because you'll run into situations like that, or situations like Call of Duty Mobile where it just doesn't work. If we had more emulators to fix that, it would be a much better scenario. Anyways, best to assume that Fortnite is just not viable on the One Pro. It was a big ask. I tried. It's not going to pull it. So while it's a game you can definitely play on this by leveraging cloud streaming, it's just not something to expect to be able to play locally. And with not being able to push your buttons, that's about as good a proof as we need. I like to play this game when testing ROBLOX. I find it's a better looking game than most. Not the most demanding, there are actually games that look even better than that, but this one in particular is a good balance between just what you can expect and the experience overall, and what a better looking one does look like as well. So in terms of performance, I mean, it's not necessarily going to be the title that has the most environment, but it's very detailed, the world, the environment. I'm not hitting that 60 FPS. I don't know if this is something to do with the settings. Might be. Okay, let's try to go manual and put everything maxed. Yeah, this is about 30 FPS. But it's playing smooth, all things considered. Definitely have tested this on devices that were struggling more. It's also probably a good title to see, again, one that is dark and what the screen looks like. It's definitely dipping right now. I don't know if you feel it. That's exactly what I wanted to find out. There's this game called Frontline in ROBLOX, which is a pretty impressive FPS. It looks somewhat like, like a Call of Duty, with graphics that you wouldn't believe it's actually playing on ROBLOX because it's so much better. But I tried to boot that title and it just crashed on me. So when it comes to ROBLOX, I think the takeaway is, most games, because they look kind of kiddie and childish, are going to run fine. But there are a couple of handful of exceptions that either have huge worlds to load, so it's going to struggle on your device, or have specifically better graphics, like it is the case here, and may struggle to keep up. All right. If you never played Star Wars Hunter, it's a third-person shooter, the team deathmatch kind of game. I don't know if they have different modes. It's pretty fun. I can't say that I played it a lot, but I definitely played it over time. And it's an easy-to-pick-up title. It is closing. They have a message on the splash screen now. The plug is getting pulled on October 15th, if I recall. So if you never played it and you were always telling yourself, oh, I should try it sometime, well, you have a couple of days left to do so. But here's the thing. You probably will not want to try it on the Abxylute One, Why? Because we have the same exact issue that I was having with Fortnite. As you can see here, my face buttons are working fine, no problems there. But when it comes to my LT and RT, for some reason, I don't know why, it's not getting picked up. That is probably one of the best optimized games that I've seen. It runs so well on the chip. All things considered, it's a very good looking game. The graphics are not maxed out, but the fact that it still runs this smooth and this steady without chugging, without breaking a sweat, is pretty impressive. But as I said, this could be something to do with the prototype. At least for the time being, I'm not able to use my weapons. So let's move to a different game. And that's another one that runs quite well, looks great. This is Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I played it about 5 hours on PC. I never tried to finish it. And it is now available on Android for, I think, $15, give or take. And especially the intro sequence to that game, it's quite impressive visually. So this is what we have here. It does have a little bit of hiccup. It doesn't seem to be to the point that it would be unbearable, but that might differ depending on different boss fights or different zones in the game. That would be hard to tell. To me, it feels like this game is being pushed to the limit, but it's working. So I am at 60 FPS. We're not hitting that number. I think we're jumping between, it probably feels like somewhere between 30 and 45, kind of having back and forths and for some reason the audio keeps cutting out. That might have something to do with the fact that I'm running it of a disk drive. I'm not sure if like it's loading files constantly. If so, that could impact the hiccups, that could impact the audio. But that is also something that I think is honest in the fact that you don't have a whole lot of memory. 64 gigabytes, if you have a game like Genshin Impact, that's pretty much all you can put on your drive. With that in mind, I think this is representative of what a lot of people will have to end up doing. And the drive I'm using is way faster than a micro SD. Could I have plugged in a micro SD and gamed with it? I actually was set up that way originally, but I was having issues. Again, I do think that some of those things are because I have a prototype. And once I have a retail unit, I'll make sure to do an updated video on the differences. But for the time being, I still think this is playable. And always to keep in mind that this is first and foremost a cloud streaming device. I feel like this would be an option between if you have a signal loss with your internet, or you're on the road for 30 minutes until you get to an hotel where you can use the internet kind of situation, and you just want to have something as a backup to keep you busy. I definitely can see Prince of Persia Lost Crown as a title that I'd want to have on my device. And if you don't have a game like Genshin Impact, storage won't be an issue. Like, there are a handful of games that have very big data, Genshin Impact being probably one of the biggest ones on the entire mobile platform, so it may not be fair of me to use that as an example. And last on the showcase today is Diablo Immortal, and it's playing, it's also chugging, as you can see here. But also, I mean, in a pinch, I think I'd be okay with using that. And that's probably one of the titles that should have a couple of options that we can put down to try to get better performance. Definitely not at 60 FPS right now. Around 30 FPS, lower resolution, image sharpening. I can probably, everything was on high. So let me put everything on low and try to put 60 FPS, see how it goes. Okay, so high FPS is not available for that device, just not an option. But yeah, it's downloading data here. And now that I've dropped the quality, it seems to do a lot better. I'd say with the graphics on low, definitely a game that can be ran on the One Pro. And no trigger problems here either, so that's nice. And this is it with the Abxylute One Pro showcase. I think there's a massive improvement over the previous device when it comes down to performance overall. But at the same time, I feel like while this is viable now on this handheld, it seems that there are certain things that should be done to make it a viable experience that just still do not exist, such as some type at least of controller emulation, and a couple of other things also that I feel would be necessary. But the other thing is, the Android store is a vast library, and if we're thinking of something like the Play Store subscription, which I often talk about whenever you're looking for a quick, easy, on-the-go, not too heavy on your devices kind of solution, guaranteed that you're going to find games in there. Like, I'm thinking Stardew Valley, for example, for sure it's going to run very, very well. It's definitely an improvement, thankfully, I think the benefits, while great to have this, the benefits lie elsewhere. You know, Terraria is free with Play Pass, Stardew Valley, Human Fall Flat, Evoland, great game. If you never played it, super fun game. Slay the Spire, Limbo, great puzzle, adventure type of title. Skull, which is a Metroidvania. Oh, Mini Metro, so easy to get lost in. If you like strategy types of games, so easy to get lost in that one. Anyways, lots of titles that you could leverage here as well. Oh, Brotato, so fun. If you like roguelikes, it's a great game. I don't know if they have Crashland. Do they have Crashland on Android? Oh, wow, they have Crashlands too? Dude, I started playing this on PC. This is a nice over-the-top isometric survival title. I didn't know that was on Android. I think that would run on this device, but yeah, I already bought it on PC, so I'm not about to buy it again on Android, but definitely probably an interesting game. Anyways, all that to say, the One Pro is undeniably an improvement, undeniably an upgrade, and one I can easily see being recommended. But there's a lot to talk about, and that I'll do in my review. For the time being, they are on Kickstarter, so if you're interested in backing one up, you can do so before the end to have the best saving possible. And if for some reason you change your mind, you can also get your money back. Now, please know that I intend to have the review before the actual campaign ends. If you're looking for that kind of update or feedback to make your full decision, just know that I got you, I'll show up. But if you are interested in getting the better deal, the discounted one, you may want to consider backing one before the end of the campaign. If anything, I can say with what I have in terms of knowledge and what I'm ready to address publicly, I think it's a great value. I think it's a great device. If you have the first one, is it justified to double down? That will definitely touch on the review. But if you don't have it and you do a lot of cloud streaming and you also like to do light local Android gaming, I think it is a device that will catch you off guard because it's so light. It charges fast now, which was one of the downside of the previous model. The sticks are phenomenal, and it's a great device to hold. And you can also have the grip, which I have, by the way, and I'll also touch base on that on the review about it. So there it is, guys. I'm going to get moving. Lots of work to do if I want to have that review in time, but thank you very much for watching this game showcase. I did it a little differently. If you have some feedback, let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next one. Consider liking if you enjoyed this video and subscribing to not miss any future content. I'm Clef, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.